Hello and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Credits and Chords. This is your host, Practical. I'm joined by the fellas.
I'm DB Danny Boy.
It's Rex.
Whoa.
And I'm fucking Brandon Eraserhead Labonte Yo-Yo.
In
Hell yeah.
heaven.
Well, today we're going to be talking about the director of Eraserhead, David Lynch. This is actually the second time we've covered him on the show, but I mostly wanted to get your guys' reactions because I already talked about it a bunch, and obviously I'll talk about it with you, but I've got questions for you fellas, so let's get into it. We're going to talk about 4 movies today because we weren't able to get to the 5th one, at least not all of us, so we're going to talk Eraserhead, Blue Velvet, Lost Highway, and Mulholland Drive.
Hold on, I just want to pause this real quick since you guys have seen all the other, well, probably most of the other Lynch movies. Are these ones as off the hook as the other ones, or are they all about the same?
I personally like all of his movies with the exception of 2 of them. They're all kind of on par. They're all like fucking weird, like dream.
I think that's what he means by off the hook. Are they all weird?
Yeah,
They're all weird.
Okay.
All of them except for A Straight Story. It's literally called A Straight Story because it's just that. Like it's a
So it's
David Lynch
not
movie
about
that's
2
an
gay
actual
guys.
movie. No.
Okay.
No.
I don't
Now
trust
you can
nobody.
see my eyes.
So yeah, let's get to it, guys. I'm very curious. Let's just hit me with how you generally feel about Lynch after these 4 films.
What the hell was that thing in the bassinet? That was no baby, dude. What the hell was that? Like,
Would you call it an ear pod a little bit ago?
yeah. Well, it was funny. It was going to review the movie, and I read someone's review, and that's what they said, and I couldn't stop laughing because it's pretty damn accurate. So,
Dude, I already told you it's the captain from Star Wars, the guy that yells, "It's a trap!" That's like him as a
fish
kid.
guy.
He had a traumatic growing up. We'll just say that.
Admiral Akbar?
Yeah, Admiral Akbar.
Yeah, but that baby gets zeroed, so I don't know if that's Admiral Akbar.
He's
Maybe
just,
like his
he's
long
spreading
lost
his
brother.
wings and turning into a turkey, a mini chicken, so to speak.
You know, that baby makes another appearance in another piece of media. He's in the sink in that demo for Silent Hill that never happened, or Silent Hills with Hideo Kojima, the PT demo.
Hmm.
That
Really?
baby is in the sink. Yeah, it's like a reference to that because David Lynch was a major influence to the original Silent Hill franchise, so they paid homage to him in that one. And Hideo Kojima is also a big Lynch fan, so yeah, that's the second time that baby's made an appearance.
Yeah, I know this is morbid and all, but I just couldn't help but picture like how that thing just like slithered out of her. Like,
Oh, dude,
that.
I was thinking the same thing watching that when they're like, you had a baby. He's like, that's not possible. She's like, mother, they don't know what it is. And I was like,
It's
what
like
the
a
hell
worm.
does that mean? Until I saw it, and yeah, that thing just...
yeah, they don't know
it might
what
pull,
it is.
it might play into what they're saying in Blue Velvet, where Isabella Rossellini's talking about putting their disease inside of her or something.
That was always
to
a
that
weird
effect.
choice of words, because she said it even when it was just him and her. She's like,
I mean,
you put your disease in me.
We
And he
shouldn't
says,
make
okay.
too much fun of her because she is like a victim of severe sexual abuse and that kind of thing.
And
That's
her
horrible.
husband was kidnapped by the mob, and she's
had his
forced
ears
to do all these
chopped
sexual
off.
favors. Yeah, so like, she's not having a good time.
I mean, I'm going to give her some grace on that, but still, it was just a weird choice of words, and she says
That
it
leads
like
to
romantically.
Eraserhead babies. Yeah.
My brother is really anticipating listening / watching this episode because he's a big David Lynch fan. But the whole time he's been bothering me like, you guys got to redo David Lynch. I want to know what the 3 of them think of him. And yeah, that's why we're here. That's why we're rehashing Lynch.
But yeah, that
think
was
it's interesting.
that was an interesting beginner. I know that I think he was like, wasn't he still in film school doing that or something along those lines? I mean, it looked like a film school.
I believe it was like a film school movie that he had
Minus
or something like that. Yeah.
Dude, that pus was very realistic. It was pretty gnarly.
One thing I'll give him credit for throughout all of his movies is the sound design, and obviously they're all shot really, really well. But I think the sound design especially on Eraserhead, like really made that movie more uncomfortable than
Mm-hmm.
it could have been if the sound design wasn't that top tier.
No way. When
Right.
she sings Blue Velvet and you see Frank crying, that's the most disturbing music in all these movies. Because you don't see that till after you see the scene.
Of
You
him
know,
losing
so like,
his
yeah,
shit.
exactly. Where he's like, like,
Dude,
oh,
Danny and I watched that together, and like
that
he
took
had.
me back when he
I'd
did
seen
that.
it before, but Danny hadn't, and
I
Danny's
was like-
reactions are always
So
fucking
what the
priceless.
fuck
I'll tell
is
you
he
what, man.
doing?
It's
He's fucking
hard for
nitrous.
me for the 5 movies that we watch. It's hard for me to choose a favorite character because, unlike you guys, Rex and Brandon, I was lucky enough to see Wild at Heart, and there's a few fucking great characters in that movie. It to me was
Wild
the
at
best
Fart.
one, but I won't talk too much about it. I don't want to ruin it for you guys, but I'm glad I got a chance to watch it. But yeah, no, I think he has very interesting characters too. He seems to always have not necessarily like a damsel in distress, but like a girl that's like been through shit. Like whether it's Isabella Rossellini or Laura Dern, or the chick in Eraserhead. I mean, she was just like completely like disgusted with herself that thing slithered out of her, and like she couldn't get any sleep, so she went and moved out and lived with her parents, and homeboys over here taking care of the AirPod. Like it was just you're right, Brandon. Going back to what you were saying originally, the sound in that movie was super uncomfortable, especially that scene where he kept trying to go outside to go bang the chick across the hall or whatever, and like every time he opened the door, the kid's like, oh man,
Yeah,
there was a lot of tension, and you were just like, oh my god, just like take the kid with you, or like just go quick.
Dude,
Yeah,
what that
take
thing
that thing
actually
with
was.
you. Okay. Here, don't mind if I bring my worm AirPod with me.
Well, she ends up seeing it anyway, so she knows what's up.
And he has
that
to
thing is a
force her
doozer.
face the whole time.
Oh
I
yeah.
couldn't tell if it was like trying to talk or breathe, just like just gasping.
I think
for
it
air.
was just
Oh my
in
God.
absolute agony. Just
Yo,
in
put that thing in an
agony.
incubation unit.
Dude,
Seriously,
right?
dude.
Thing's just dying there slowly. And
There's
they're
just some
like, "Do
things you
want
don't
more
take
food?"
home,
Like I
Yeah.
said, the rule of the Spartans probably would have been a favor in this case. It's like, oh, this baby's deformed, throw it off a cliff.
Oh God.
I mean, it could be a little more like a little nicer, maybe like just cremate them, but you don't got to have somebody drag this dead baby
I was
to the
talking
cliff.
about the rule of the Spartans, dude. That's what they did. They also did other things, but
It'd be like Midsummer when they jump off that cliff.
yeah, but for a baby.
Okay.
I
that's
think
just-
I think what makes David Lynch interesting, though, to touch on what you're talking about with the baby and everything like that, is he's a director that, most directors will take scripts from the studio, or they'll work with another writer, or maybe they'll write it themselves, but it's usually more of a story-driven idea, where David Lynch's films are more of like a bunch of dream ideas and ways that he deals with like personal demons and anxieties and things about life. And that baby, and from what I've read and what I know about him, is that baby is just like a metaphor for how he first felt becoming a father. Like the whole experience is very alien to you and like anxiety inducing and shit. So that baby is like a representation. It's supposed to make you feel his anxiety in a way. And I think that's
like,
what
couldn't the
gives it
baby
that
look like
horror
Sloth
spin.
or something? Not like a
Yeah,
fucking
did it have to
alien,
look like a living turd?
right?
Hey man, I think it does its job. I mean, it bothers you. You're talking about it. I think that's the whole
speaking
point
of-
of it.
What
Yeah,
bothers me
speaking of
more
things
is
that
how it
bothered
came
me-
out of her.
No, what bothers me the most is what was up with that plot of dirt on his nightstand and motherfuckers growing a beat.
That was bothering
was
me the
that?
whole time. Like, dude,
I was so
dude can
curious
have a
what that
baby,
was.
but he can't
Right.
buy a pot.
His movies. Well, let's just. All right. We'll just jump into Eraserhead right here. Eraserhead, 1977.
We've been talking about
Let's
it.
just keep talking about it, but I wanted to structure it at least so we don't talk about the other ones because I don't want to get them mixed up. They're all their own unique experience. So
Yeah, they're all fucking crazy.
Yeah, unique's a word.
exactly.
There's scenes where a little moon face lady's dancing around, and there's like
Dude, the radiator
strands
bitch.
of
Mhm.
nut
The lady in the
falling all
radiator.
around.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes, it
It's
is.
just like,
sadistic.
yeah, and then hell yeah, they were
Saw a
the
lady in
sadistic.
the radiator.
They fucking
That
that
was
lady in the
she
radiator was
songs.
fucked up, dude.
Dude,
it's
oh my
creepy,
God.
dude. It's
Well,
the
I
whole,
knew
it's
he
the
had
whole
an
situation.
attraction to it when he was like coming home and she's like trying to feed the kid and the thing's just like spitting everywhere. And he's just over there staring at the radiator, be like, God, I can't wait
Dude, I
till she
think
goes
that's
to bed,
what
dude.
made his seed all like poison and made that baby like that, because that radiator was
Well,
powerful work.
Nah, man,
it
was
did
probably
something
the
to her
lead
cheeks,
paint.
that's for sure.
The shit fucked him up, dude. He was tripping on that lead paint. That heater was heating it up in there too, and fucking just fumigating him out. So,
Hell yeah.
tripping
I
out,
think-
thinking his baby's an alien.
The whole movie, like everything that happens in that movie, is unnerving. Like everything is anxiety-inducing to me. Like the baby, the wife, meeting the wife's parents
Bill.
and hanging out with them.
The father.
Mhm.
Yeah, Bill. Fuck that guy.
Oh my god, she has to shoo him out of there because he's like, "Don't get me started. I've been on my knees in this neighborhood since it was."
Yeah, that guy tripped me out, didn't he? He was just staring at him, like smiling. And then what was up with them giving grandma the heater in the kitchen, dude? She's like sleeping.
Smoking
Yeah,
the
dude,
cig,
right?
dude.
she
Fucking
can
the
smoke
chickens,
the cigarette,
the little
but
little like the chickens that were fucking man.
dude, why was it those little chickens? Why were they bleeding so much? And everybody, and he's just looking
Aren't
at
those
it.
like Cornish hens?
I
I
wish
had an old
I
roommate that
honestly
used to eat those all the time.
I wish I had just like a cap and a stem of mushrooms to watch before ever seeing this movie for the first time. Like,
I mean, any
feel
of
like
his
it would
movies,
make
really.
a lot more sense. I feel like
It
things
might,
would connect
right?
better.
Hmm.
Because it seems like
Only if
this
you have
dude
some
needed a
fucked up
hug and some
dreams.
drugs.
I'm pretty far off from having kids, if ever. So I don't know how well I can relate to this movie's major themes, but I thought it was pretty cool overall. I mean, it was a really well done piece of film done by like a young director, like a really strong start.
Yeah, and it's just
Yeah.
an interesting movie altogether. Like it's not conventional at all, and it's like you're talking '77 and shit, like same year as Star
Yeah.
Wars. Then this shit's coming out. It's just,
Well,
it's
Dude,
he
funny
I
lays
to
just
think
wanted to
about.
hit that guy's head with a freaking pair of clippers, dude. That guy's hair was pissing me off.
Hell no, that dude looks like he goes into your house and sticks forks in your fucking electrical sockets all the time.
Yeah.
He's like,
And I
"Hey,
mean,
how
like
you
I-
doing?" I'm
Like I said, he lays the groundwork for all his like future projects, like because everyone in all of his movies kind of have this weird way of delivering dialogue, and the dialogue also is kind of weird and non-linear as well sometimes.
Oh yeah, I love the dialogue. Frank is the well-dressed man. He looks at Frank and he's got those shitty like, glued on eyebrows that don't even cover his gray eyebrows. It was fantastic.
Did you guys like the film though? I mean, I know Brandon said he did, but what about you guys? Did you like it?
was all
Did
right.
you not like it?
It
Yeah.
wasn't my favorite of the ones we watched, but it was like he said, for what it was, for it being, made by a young director and, almost looking like a student film, like it was pretty decent. It was weird, but I could see the themes kind of tucked in there under the alien baby.
Hell yeah, Alien baby.
Yeah, fuck the themes of this movie. This movie's just tight to watch. I don't even give a shit what this movie is about. Just watching this movie was a fucking trip.
You're just
Like,
well,
it's-
that's why
David
visually,
Lynch is
basically.
too. If you
Yeah.
if you ask him what his movies are about, he will pretty much flat out say, "I don't know."
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck is going on most of the
He
time
just likes
in
to
like
be.
this
He
movie.
knows. He just likes to be.
No,
mysterious.
that's
like
He likes to be
He-
facetious, it sounds like.
he doesn't
Yeah,
want you
what
to
a
know. He
pimp.
wants you to interpret them any way you want to. And I like shit like that. That's how like Tool is with their music. Like it's up for
That
interpretation.
shit pisses me off. Like brand new, they have a song. It's called Degassier. He does not elaborate on a certain lyric in that song, and he says it's up to interpretation. Fuck that! I listened to what you wrote. I want to hear what you
But
said.
he wrote it for you.
Yeah, you can
Knowing
suck my
his
dick with
past
that.
history, it might be about sexually assaulting or
Yeah,
underage
well, half
girls.
the rock stars in this world, Brandon, have that history. So get over it. It's the fucking. It sucks, but it's the way the world's been. Like, you can't knock on this and then go listen to Led Zeppelin. But it could be about that, honestly. That's why he doesn't want to elaborate.
He's like, "Oh wait, no, the puzzles
he
are
doesn't
starting to
wanna-
fit."
He's like, I'm not gonna fucking incriminate myself. But anyways, no, I was just saying I don't like that shit. Like I want to know what it's about, because if I interpret it way wrong, who the fuck am I?
A moron.
Well, I mean, it's just your opinion. Like I
Thank
said,
you.
you might like it for those reasons that nobody else likes it for. You know, I think that's kind of what's cool about it. You know, like there are just different branches to it.
I guess my branch is I don't give a fuck what it's about, but this movie was tight. Like I was watching this movie this whole time, just like
Jesus.
I don't know what the fuck is going on, but this shit is crazy sweet. Like this is like a fever dream, and I took in what you said before when you're like,
Mhm.
just think of these movies as like a dreamscape. So I'm like, this one must be a fucking fever dream someone's having, because that's what it feels like. You wake up all
Yeah, that's-
sweaty, not sure what's happening, and you don't like what happened, but it did. You don't
His
tell
biggest
anybody.
focus is just like the weird, and Brandon and I were talking about it yesterday, and one thing he's always said that my brother likes to bring up too, and I think it's a good point, is he's like, there's weirdness all around you, you know, we just kind of choose to ignore it a lot of the time, and he likes to highlight the weird shit, you know, and I think he does a really good job because all his characters are pretty memorable, even in his worst movies. That they're you know, like I don't know. I like it. I like Eraserhead, but I'm going to agree with Danny and probably all of you guys. It's not my favorite movie by him. I do think it's a strong entry, like you said, but yeah, I think he shines pretty much from Blue Valentine forward. Other than Dune,
Blue
I gotta shit
Velvet,
on
not
Dune.
Blue Valentine.
I mean Blue Velvet. Yeah, my bad. But I got to shit
Well,
on
I
Dune.
guess I'm alone here because I really like Eraserhead. Might be my favorite.
Really?
Hell yeah! I told you that movie's fucking
Wow.
sweet, man. That
You like
movie's a
that shit, huh?
trip, dude. Like,
Hell yeah.
I thought
that's
for
actually
sure
pretty
you were gonna hate that watching that.
No.
Me too,
Rex
dude.
is gonna turn this off.
it's like pie but better.
Oh God,
Hell yeah.
See, I think
Shit's
I
a
like
trip.
Pie better.
I
That's
think I
one
did
thing I
too.
will say about David Lynch across the board. I think as a script writer, that's his weakest tool in his toolbox.
I think he knows that. That's why, you know, like Mark Frost helped him with Twin Peaks, and I don't think he's like oblivious to that because he's not really a storyteller. He's more of a visual guy. You know?
I mean,
Yeah.
dude, there's some fucking banger lines in some of these movies, but in terms of
Oh
like,
yeah, there are.
you know,
Yeah.
in terms of like a fucking like cohesive, well thought out script and story, I think he, like you said, he kind of knows that. That's why he builds these dreamlike structures and
Mhm.
and stuff. But yeah, I mean, that doesn't. I will never take away the fact that there are some one-liners in all of these movies that I'm just like, yeah, that's sick, dude.
I'm thinking of one. I'm already thinking of one from Wild at Heart, but I don't want to say
Fuck! Oh, God damn it! I bought that movie and it's out of print. I won't, and
it. Fuck.
I
dude.
can't wait till it gets here
I'll
because
tell
I
you
remember
what.
you
I
said
won't
that.
spoil it, Brandon. But the one-liner is from our boy Crisp, and that's what made it so
God damn
fucking
it! I
good.
forgot
It's
Crispin
so
Glover is
good.
in that.
It's so
Fuck.
good.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, dude.
That only
Oh,
No,
helps.
that
sucks.
is automatic and can't be a 5-star movie if he's
Hey,
in it.
I also bought it, Brandon, and I'm supposed
So
to be
Back
getting
to
it
the
on
Future
Friday.
is not
I
a
will
five-star
watch
film?
it with you because I want to watch it with you. I want to hear your reactions.
No.
Yep.
No, I'll watch it with you, but Back to the Future is not a 5-star film.
Ooh.
Yeah, it has a very appropriate underage kid having an appropriate relationship with an overage scientist who brings him over to his house.
And makes him try to bang his
5-star.
mom.
No, I'm full of shit. That is absolutely a 5-star film.
Yeah, I'll kill
It's
you.
4.5
first ones.
because Marty doesn't die.
I knew you were full of shit because you had mentioned it was one of the greatest films of all time, and if that isn't a 5-star statement, I don't know what is.
Yeah,
He's
but,
like, yeah, it's still
but
2.5.
Rex makes a good point. Marty McFly doesn't die at the end of it.
Fucking makes a
And that's a
5-star
good
if he
thing.
did.
That's a good thing that he doesn't die at the end of it.
You know, then it gives the second movie a weirder premise.
All right. Well, speaking of weird premises, let's move on to Blue Valentine.
Hey,
yeah.
dude,
Velvet.
Blue Velvet. Sorry, I don't know why I keep. You know why? It's because I just saw Blue Valentine for the first time the other day.
I was
just
gonna
keep
say that
thinking of
movie's pretty
Sorry.
rough too. Like,
Yeah.
goddamn.
No, it's because you've
But
been
yeah.
listening to Bullet for My Valentine. And
No,
these
Blue-
tears don't fall.
1986 Blue Velvet. All
Sorry.
right. So
I'll fuck anything that moves.
Dude, Kyle MacLachlan,
yeah,
cute looking guy in this, man. I mean, I'll tell you what. Minus his
Not
hair, I
gay.
couldn't tell if he was getting like a mullet, like because like his hairline went really down to his neck, and I guess it was bothering me most of the movie.
Hell yeah, Jurassic Park lady's in it. I don't know her name, and I never
Laura Dern,
will.
dude.
Laura
Oh
Dern.
man,
Dern.
again,
Don't know her name, and
yeah,
never will.
She's fantastic.
Yeah, Kyle MacLachlan credits David Lynch for jump-starting his career and like
No, 100%.
getting him work and shit. So it's pretty cool. They had a good relationship. Obviously, he was in multiple projects of Mr. Lynch, but yeah, I really like Blue Velvet. I think if you like noir and you like the weird shit that Lynch does, I think this is a good mixture of those things.
But it's a more structured weird, which I like.
I just thought it was
exactly.
weird that guy was like a fucking pervert and, trying to be like a fucking, police officer.
You mean Dennis Hopper?
No, I'm not talking about Dennis
No, he's
Hopper. I'm talking about Kyle
MacLachlan.
MacLachlan, dude. He was kind of like a little creeper, dude.
He's like
Going
an
around
amateur
trying to-
sleuth.
Yeah,
he really was.
detective, and he stumbled his way into like the detective
Voyeurism.
That's the
No,
guy
he
in
stumbles
Love
his way into voyeurism. He's in that goddamn closet.
or whatever he says.
Yeah,
like,
he's
oh, okay.
This guy gets more
This
pussy
guy's
than
even
a toilet
poison in the
seat.
toilet seat. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
No.
down the line though.
The,
But he said about Kyle MacLachlan in fucking Blue Velvet.
he's not a pervert, man. He just is smart. Like when
He
she pulled out
absolutely
that
is.
knife and has him come out, what are you gonna say? Oh, I'm investigating your murder that you're involved in. Or you could say, I'm really into you. I was just here. I want to bang. And you're probably more likely to live with that
She gave
scenario.
him that little stab on his cheek
Yeah,
too.
she give him a little-
That kind of got me good. Ooh,
All right, but Danny, tell me you didn't love Dennis Hopper in this movie.
Oh my god, dude. Well, it was
That's a
funny. I
Danny
was like, kind of
Exactly,
waiting for
bro.
him, and then all of a sudden he just comes in like full force. dude.
Hardcore. I did not
Straight
know
up
what was
dry
going on.
hump, Dry hump / R words for Isabella Rossellini, and like poor Kyle MacLachlan's just in the freaking closet. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, homeboy pulls out the O2 tank, and I was like, "What is going on, dude?"
Dude, that just put me out so bad.
Hitting that thing, mommy, daddy wants to fuck. I was like, what the hell?
It's pretty dope
you-
that,
oh my
that
God.
Chucky is one of his henchmen too.
Oh,
yeah,
hell yeah, dude.
Hell yeah.
freaking what's his name from Paris, Texas, is doing the lip syncing in his apartment, and Brad Dourif is in the background with the snake, just on a sick one.
Oh yeah, he was tripping out. Yeah,
That's a really great scene. I love how unnerving that scene is and shit, dude. Like that scene right there is what kind of makes David Lynch shine a lot of the time. It's just that real, like almost relatable scene that we've all been to, like a party like that. But then it's just weird as fuck, dude. And then you're like, what?
Yeah, and you're like, yeah, I gotta
think that was a
go.
brothel
You guys are
house. I didn't think that was a
drinking
party.
warm PBR and
Yeah.
fucking dancing with snakes. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Hey,
Hell
yeah,
yeah,
but
man.
the coolest thing in this fucking movie is homeboy detective got shot in the head and he's just standing there.
Oh yeah. I love that
That's
scene.
so
It's fucking
sick.
weird.
That whole
Yeah.
that whole time the dude's just standing there.
Yeah, was that
till-
guy already dead or
Yeah,
like
he was
just
dead. He had a shot in the head, but he was like,
I don't know if he
rigor
was
mortis.
necessarily dead, but he was,
that's definitely a very
Yeah.
surreal, trippy
Yeah.
scene. Like, and that's also something that is so stranger than fiction, that you could see happening in real life too. You
Hell
walk,
yeah.
so answer me this, guys. Why did he kill Ben?
What do you mean?
So at the end, the two people in there was that crooked detective and Ben, the dude that the like dude with the makeup. That's
Mhm.
very suave. He's like, "You're so suave, man."
yeah.
He's like, "Oh, did he hurt you?" Bam! Gave him a couple in the gut, but it was him at the end with the blue velvet shoved in his mouth. So
Yeah.
I don't remember any animosity happening between those two
I think Dennis
characters.
Hopper was just a psychopath, and he's like, "Dude,
Yeah,
you
he's
looking
just-
at my
Yeah, just
girl?"
believe that.
Rampage at the end, killing anyone that he thought maybe would have messed with Isabella.
Oh,
Yeah,
I mean
the
that's fair. I
motherfucker
wasn't
is like
sure.
huffing. He's like going crazy on the O2, dude. That guy
Bro,
has
you
no
ever had
reasoning.
pure oxygen, dude? That'll get you. That's a sick little high, man.
Plus, he's just one of those like
down,
reckless gangster
Steve-O.
types, that thinks he can get away with whatever. So like,
Right.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure because. Yeah, I just wasn't sure because I was like, "What'd Ben do?" Ben was hella tight.
yeah, I think he's
Lost
just
too
Cross-dressing
suave,
ass
bro.
Ben. Yeah, he's
I
too
really
suave.
like.
It wasn't Ben. It was Dawn and Gordon.
wasn't
Gordon is the
Ben?
guy standing up, and Dawn was the guy with the blue velvet shoved in his mouth. Dawn.
I think Ben was her kidnapped husband. I think that's who that was.
Yeah, the guy. Yeah, he was the guy with the missing ear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, it looked like
Dawn
the
was
dude
her
had
husband,
makeup.
and the guy in the room with the blue velvet shoved in his mouth was Dawn. So yeah, they,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
that's
that
who
makes
that
more
was.
sense. All right.
But
Well,
yeah,
he looked
he's
like
like such a
makeup on.
character in the background. It's like, yeah, who was that guy? I remember that guy being in there too, with the
Mhm.
fucking weird standing up dead guy. And
And he's
Yeah.
like
yeah, no,
bleeding
my
and
boy
shit,
Dean
but he's still,
Stockwell,
yeah.
Ben, he survives with his painted face and all, and is sick, dude. One of those cigarette extenders, man.
Those ones
That's
they made for the
fucking-
women back in the 20s.
Cruella de Vil's,
Nah,
bro.
dude, that shit is pimp, man. When you're a guy like Ben, if you know what I'm saying.
You're a guy like Ben.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it.
I do like how the whole movie plays out, though. I like that he finds the ear, and then he notices the cops don't give a fuck, and he's like, "All right, you know what? I'll look into this shit myself because you guys are worthless," kind of thing. And then he ends up befriending like the sheriff's daughter, and like, I don't know.
Oh,
I
he
think the
befriends
whole
her, all right.
But was her dad on the shit
shit
too?
out of her.
I love Mike.
I think so. I'd like to. I honestly think so. I think it alludes to that without confirming it, but
Wait, lose to what?
Well,
like
because that's
her
why
dad being
the
involved
cops
in everything.
didn't care about the ear
yeah.
because they're all in the take, you know.
Mhm.
Oh
'cause
yeah,
fucking
100%.
Frank's, he's paying off cops and doing all kinds of shit to get away with what he's doing. And I'm sure that those guys had to know, otherwise he would have gotten caught almost immediately. That's my take on it, but I like Blue Velvet a lot, and it's one of those movies I didn't like when I was younger, but rewatching it over the last couple of years has really grown on me. In fact, I like it more every time I watch it.
Yeah.
And I think it
Blue
influenced
Velvet is
movies.
my favorite of his, but I haven't seen Wild at Heart yet. So
Oof.
Oh, dude.
I will say that Blue Velvet is his least unhinged movie. It's got some unhinged things, but it tells a cohesive story.
yeah,
You'll feel that way about Wild at Heart too. It's a pretty straightforward movie with just like a bunch of weird ass characters, basically.
Yeah, I thought that
The
was going to be
best.
about Mulholland Drive and Lost Highway, but guess where I ended up? Fucked. So again, I don't trust these guys at all.
I told you that though. I told you last week when we talked about it that it's nothing is what it seems in these movies. You gotta like go into it assuming there's gonna be nothing but fuckery.
Fucking Outer Limits, dog.
From David Fincher to Darren Aronofsky to this guy, I just don't trust anybody. Anything, what I see, nothing.
I get it.
Fuckers.
All right, let's move on to 1997's Lost Highway then.
No, fuck this. Fuck this movie.
you have Perfect Drug, 9 Inch Nails.
Hell yeah. There's a bunch of sweet shit on this soundtrack, like Nine Inch Nails, Marilyn Manson, Rammstein.
This soundtrack is a banger, dude. This
It is.
actually, this movie is a Rammstein music video at times.
It felt
Dude,
like
I
it.
love it. I love this movie. I think it's so sick. This is one of those ones that's more just visually the whole time. I love it. But yeah.
Yeah, except Balthazar Getty is a goddamn pussy.
Nobody told me it was my
He
Independence
looked,
Day.
dude.
this
He
movie
looks
either.
he looks like Buddy, the lead singer from Census Fail, dude. That's all I thought the entire movie.
Okay, but like
Oh, he
so-
does. He does. I didn't even think about that until you just said
Yeah.
that.
It was very distracting.
this movie though is the first one that we're going to talk about that's kind of like I want to know your different interpretations of what you saw because the
That
other
guy's
ones
a
have
fucking
been fairly
schizophrenic.
straightforward, but
The guy's a schizo, dude. He had some out of body experience, and then all of a sudden he just magically fucking went to someone else's body. Like that was kind of a trip. But I figured he's got to be a schizo or something.
hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought it was like a dreamy sort of like he's in prison and he dreams about being another person, so then he takes over that person's body, and then he starts cheating on his girlfriend with his ex's. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like interpreted it to my own fault, probably pretty literally, because once you start getting towards the end, just if you do it that way, then nothing makes sense anymore. Which was fine. I just felt like that was the dream collapsing, or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I took it.
Themes.
So this is one of the first movies I looked up what the fuck was going on, because it really did throw me off, and what it told me threw me off even more. I'm not even going to repeat it because it's just stupid. But what I took it as was like an allegory for like the grass isn't greener because he was doing the same thing she was.
Yeah.
He didn't turn into another person. It's just what he envisioned was happening. And we saw a little into what was actually happening during all that time, because you get a forefront, or you get a flashback to the party that he was at with what's her name. And he meets Andy is the guy's name that, they had a thing. And that party is also the same party we figure out, I think, at the end that he was at when she's like making out with the old dude and the old gangster dude and all that. So I think it was just he was so angry at what she did and that he killed her, but he didn't look at it like what he was doing was the same thing because he was cheating on her. That's how I took it.
My
There's a
favorite
lot of
scene
themes
was,
of like
the unhinged, how he got unhinged and pulled over that road rager guy, dude. That was sick.
Robert Loggia,
Oh,
the
yeah,
the homie.
Now tell me you're never gonna tailgate again.
Yeah.
Dude's like, what the fuck?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of themes though of like distrust and unrequited like love, some of that kind of stuff.
Well, it's like the looking in the mirror and you don't recognize yourself is kind of what I meant. Like he doesn't like what she was doing, but he taking a look in the mirror type thing, but instead he manifested it into this insane ordeal, which is how he got out of prison in the first place at first.
So he
Yeah,
killed
I do think he escaped, but I think he escaped. It's just a weird one.
So my interpretation of it is kind of in line with Brandon's more so. Like I think that he's kind of, he goes to jail for killing his wife, which we see basically. I think that's pretty real.
I don't
And
think
then
he did.
I honestly think that he did, and I think that when he goes to jail, he's projecting all these things onto the type of man that his wife would have wanted, and the slick, cool guy, all the things that he was failing at being. He couldn't satisfy her in bed, like all that shit. And I think that's like a projection, and he creates this other character so he can accomplish all those things that he couldn't when he wasn't doing that shit. And then at the end, when he's driving down the lost highway, basically, you see the electrocution thing happening, so he finally meets his end in death row. And I think that's my interpretation of it. And it's, Brandon mentioned it's kind of like a Rammstein music video. I also feel like it could easily be like a Nine Inch Nails music video. It kind of just fits all of those things for me visually. I love how dark it is. I just really like it. I think it was one of those movies that it kept me interested the whole time because I just, like you guys, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then by the end, I'm like, okay, I think I understand. I think I get it. And I think that's kind of what David Lynch wants you to do. He wants you to put the pieces together yourself, and he's never going to tell you whether you're right or wrong. So you're kind of just left with this, like, what the fuck, man? But in a good way. Not in
You
like
guys say
a
Nine
rude
Inch
kind of way.
Nails. I say Papa Roach. And the scars remind me that the past is real. Yeah, that's what this. That's what the whole
Papa
music
Roach
is like.
song you say?
Roach.
What
Yeah,
the
whatever.
fuck, bro?
What you
Yeah,
want to be? Cut my dick into pieces.
That's all they're good for.
Jerk off so fast.
I mean, I didn't want to hear that one either, honestly. But
Sorry you don't like hits. Hits.
I'm sorry you don't like hits. Yeah, I mean, you guys got anything else to add about it, or what?
The way
It was
Andy
sweet.
dies is pretty tight.
Hell yeah, agreed. That's like one of the best scenes in the whole movie, honestly.
Bill Pullman's tight.
Yeah,
This movie's tight.
yeah, it's good. It's good insight, dudes. Glad I waited so long to hear it.
This movie was a trip. I liked it, but I'll probably never watch it again.
You
I'm
say
sorry,
that about
man.
like everything, bro.
No, I don't. I'm gonna watch Eraserhead again.
I fucking watched this movie after Wild at Heart, and it was just
You hit that high point, and everything else is just
I already
downhill.
nutted. If that's what you want to know, okay.
Like I said, I like this movie because it makes me think on, a lot of just the narrative of the movie and just kind of the weirdness of it. It always makes me contemplate what, different things about it. Like this time I'm thinking about the, maybe the loss of identity or the desire to maybe start over younger. It's all pretty interesting.
Yeah, what kind of jazz music was that guy playing, dude? That looked like some industrial, like, death metal jazz. Like, what the hell was that?
It's avant-garde, man. It's just weird and different. Gothic,
Yeah, that fucking
strange.
drummer was getting strobe lighted. It looked like he was uncomfortable.
I like, is it Patricia or Rosanna? It's Rosanna
That's
Arquette. in
Patricia.
This one, right?
No, Rosanna Arquette was the cross-dresser one that died, unfortunately.
Oh, right. Okay, so yeah. I thought she did a good job in this movie, too, playing two characters. She's like playing a dual role or two different people, but it's the same person at the end of the day. I like that, too. Yeah, I don't know. I
Robert
enjoy
Blake
Lost
looking
Highway.
like fucking Eddie Munster.
Yeah, what was his deal,
Definitely,
dude? Is that motherfucker a vampire? He looked like Dracula's fucking
Dude,
interior
that's
decorator,
why I don't
dude.
know if he actually fucking killed her, because that dude.
Called him from his house
Who
and
the
shit while he's
fuck
standing in
was
front
he?
of him. Give me back
Yeah.
my phone.
But
And
not
there's a
only
character-
that, he's like his friend at the end. He hands him a knife out of nowhere.
True.
He's going to reach.
Well,
for the
he is a
and bam,
murderer
here's
in
a
real
knife.
life, so that doesn't surprise me.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, psychotic breaks.
There's another character like that in Mulholland Drive, like that cowboy character. He's just kind of
If you see
weird
me
and
two
out of nowhere.
times,
Yep.
I'm gonna get your butthole.
Yeah, that guy was a pussy.
Yeah, I really don't like that guy. That's one of my biggest complaints about the movie.
you ever been ridden like a bull?
But let's talk about it. 2001's Mulholland Drive. Yeah,
Hell yeah, titties.
pretty weird.
I'm sorry. Excuse me.
How did you guys feel
we
about the
cut that?
diner scene?
Which one?
The diner scene where the dude's like talking to the reporter or the detective or whatever that guy is, and then they leave, and the homeless woman like comes around the corner, and the guy just dies from a heart attack.
He doesn't die.
Yeah, that was weird.
Wait,
That guy
does he
looks
die?
pretty fucking dead to me, bro.
Well, that just depends on your interpretation of what happened at the end.
I mean, that's a pretty wild ass homeless lady, but
Yeah.
it's also
Yeah.
not far off from that. I have seen some shit.
Bro, that's what
Dude,
happens
if
when
I
the
saw
lady.
that woman, I would shit my pants, dude. Honestly.
No way, that's just the lady from Home Alone.
Home Alone
but
2,
she actually got
Pigeon Lady, dude.
addicted to drugs. Like that's her after the drugs.
Hell
Home
yeah,
Alone,
dude.
she was just starting out. This one, she's been in it hard for 20 years.
Kevin took some of that Duncan's donation money, dude, and gave her the fucking money for a couple of rocks.
Kevin now sells to her outside the back of his nice
Thanks,
house.
Mr. Duncan. Here's your fucking dove back.
How'd you guys interpret this one? Because again, chaos. This
So
movie is a little bit.
I thought I knew what was going on until all of a sudden she wasn't Betty anymore and she was Diane. I was like,
Mhm.
wait, so did she get the fucking head injury? Like, I'm so fucking confused. And then all of a sudden, those two were just diking it out, lesbianism. I was like, okay, I mean, I'm not against this, but I'm still not understanding. Like, so this one was a little bit more confusing, I would say, but it was pretty good. Naomi Watts was really, really good. She was
Really
pissing me
good.
off in the beginning how bubbly she was, but I guess, being someone that's probably never been to Hollywood and an aspiring actress wants to, put her foot in the door. She's like, oh my God, I'm getting my first audition. And then borderline gets like raped by that guy, dude. Like, what the hell was that?
No, she borderline rapes him.
Older guy.
She rapes him. He didn't even touch her butt, and then she grabs his hand and puts it on there.
Right? Yeah.
Like, you
well,
can
I
see
mean,
at
she
the end
really
of it,
wanted
the
that
dude was
role,
like-
dude.
Sure, into feeling like she needs to do these things to get the role, bro.
That just
But
felt
you forget
Weinsteinish,
Betty
okay?
is Diane.
I
saying.
understand that, but that's where I was like kind of lost because I'm like, wait. And then
But
there
she
was a scene
wasn't.
where she was in the diner with that Charlie Hunnam looking motherfucker, and she saw the chick's name tag, and very,
Yeah,
very
she
lost.
saw Betty, and that's where she came up with. I don't know at all. I'm making shit up. I don't know what the fuck happened in that movie because I don't know what happened first or what happened last. Because did we see the transition, like what happened after, and then we see how it all led up to it? Because that's where I'm confused. Because
Yes,
she was Diane
Yes.
first. Then all that paid homeboy to try and kill her failed. She hit her head, forgot. But then all of a sudden she became fucking Bet. Okay, well here you want to say yes, but how the fuck did they both disappear into a box? Tell me that.
because they never even existed at all.
I think the solution to this movie is like in the first 2 minutes of the movie, when the cars collide on Mulholland Drive. I think this is like a death dream. And that's why there's like alternative realities and it's super dreamy and things like memories hold structure for a while, but then, she's dying, so it loses it. So she maybe, forgets who she is. So she thinks she's someone else and yada, yada, yada. Like, that's what I think this movie is. But I have always hated and thought it was kind of just up its own ass. But I mean, every time I watch it, I'm like, oh yeah, it does make sense. But then I think about it more and more, and I'm like, no, fuck that. That's some shit right there. Is how it ends. Just
See, that's where I think you're wrong, because the girl who got in the wreck is not the one who had the problem really remembering who she was. She does in the sense of amnesia, but like the Betty girl and Diana, she's the one who's losing touch with who she really is because she doesn't remember properly.
Yeah, but not Naomi Watts shows up to her apartment with amnesia, and that's where I think that's why. But she starts to suffer from those effects at some point in the movie too. Like, I don't know, it's fucking weird.
Well, here's the weirdest part: is she's Diane who's dead in the bed. And then she wakes up because the cowboy guy goes, "It's time to wake up."
Man, dirty Diane, dude.
Yeah, Diane. But the cowboy guy shows up and wakes her up from her death because he opens the door and says, "It's time to wake up." And then all of a sudden,
how many of your grandma's friends look like Coco, dude?
I think my interpretation of the film is like Naomi Watts' character. The version that kills herself is not the same version that we see throughout the movie. It's like a exaggerated version of herself, and that's why she's so bubbly and weird in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And I think the movie itself is like a commentary on struggling actresses. She's never getting the role she wants, but they love this other girl who she's kind of brought up in her mind, probably what Brandon's saying, in a death dream kind of way. But I don't think it's I don't agree it's where he thinks it is. I think it's when she shoots herself. I think she's having these crazy dreams and thoughts in her last seconds alive, and
so the car crash at the beginning could be a misdirect.
Yeah, misdirection.
Exactly.
See, that makes a little more sense.
That's my interpretation of the film, because the whole movie seems like a commentary on Hollywood and the backdoor ways
sure,
in
it
which
does.
things, so I think she's projecting this crazy version of herself and this other chick, and that's why they fuck, and that's why they're intimate.
And
that's
so
why
the homeless lady is like the red lamp, or the light, the red lamp. You guys know that story? The guy who's fucking hits his head, and he goes through like a whole entire lifetime with another family. He gets married, he has kids, and he always sees this red light at night. And the red light is actually the light of the ambulance, or I'm sorry, it's the color of the thing that dogs pee on. The fire hydrant. Yeah. It's actually the fire hydrant that he got knocked out next to. So it's like the actual grip on the reality is still always there, because the only out of all that, if the beginning of it is her, or the end of it is her actually leading up to her death, and then the beginning to the end of to the third act of the movie is her in her fever dream from death, then that would mean that lady is that grasp on reality. That I don't know. I don't remember the word they use to explain that object, but it's an object that is a constant, because it's your conscious holding on to what reality is.
I get what you're saying.
That might not make a lot of sense. Yeah, like an anchor, but it might not make a lot of sense because I can't explain it properly, but
no, because I mean that's what's kind of cool about this movie is like you might be thinking about shit that you don't even have the words for, but it might take you some time to develop those thoughts, And every time I've seen all of his movies a few times at this point, except Eraserhead. This was my first time, and obviously Wild at Heart I haven't seen yet. But I'm always coming away thinking like, God damn it, what the fuck was that about? And then I think about it for a few days,
That's what I think is so stimulating about David Lynch, though. It's like he doesn't want you to get it in one view. Like, if you've ever watched Twin Peaks, you're going to have to watch that bitch like 3 times to understand a fraction of what's going on. And like, and that's kind of crazy, but at the same time, it's the type of shit that Hideo Kojima does. We were just talking about him with Death Stranding. He's also very mysterious and will work in metaphors and strange, dream sequences or dream theories to introduce parts of his story that then will get you thinking. And I think you talking about the anchor thing with the homeless woman is exactly what he wants you to do. You're taking a piece of his movie and you're trying to make sense of it all, but at the end of the day, have you? But you still enjoyed what you saw, and I think that's kind of what makes him great.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw it out there. I'd hit that lady.
What?
I'd hit it.
The homeless lady?
Yeah, I'd hit it. She's just
Bro, you
weird.
just be saying
She's weird
the most
enough.
off the cuff shit sometimes. I swear.
Bro, I'd hit it behind the dumpster too. She don't need no respect.
God.
She's seen things.
What about you, Danny? How do you feel about Mulholland Drive? Was it another mind fuck like Lost Highway
It was,
for you?
yeah, it was, like I said, it was just weird when she killed herself. Like, obviously, I kept forgetting to put the dream factor thing in there. So, but yeah.
Just like taking everything literally. You're like, what the fuck?
Right, yeah. Well, I kind of was, but then, I kind of think back to what Aaron was saying, like, nothing is what it seems, and obviously it wasn't, but
The fuck is this
yeah, no,
Assassin's
it was-
Creed?
yeah, it was fucking bizarre. And like the whole Justin Theroux like storyline was kind of, I don't know, did it need to be there? Yes, no,
I
don't
was
know.
so tripped out on that
Billy
one.
Ray Cyrus, baby.
Billy Ray Cyrus fucking him up, dude. That was awesome.
To this day, he claims that David Lynch ruined his career with that
No
role.
way,
He talks about
dude. If anything, that's better than Achy Breaky Heart, bro.
it. Right? Yeah, he
And
bitches
then-
about it all the time.
I loved when Justin Theroux took that fucking paint all over that chick's jewelry, dude. I was like, yes, that was awesome.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
That's what you get for
That was some
banging
thick
Billy
paint,
Ray,
too,
man.
dude.
I like I can't remember the actress's name, but the chick opposite Naomi Watts, her name is Camila Rhodes, and there's a Between the Buried and Me song named after her, which is
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
cool.
So
Laura
Silent
Herring.
Circus. Laura Herring, yeah, there we go.
that leads to this bullshit of why there was that storyline with Camila Rhodes. Because was Camila in essence
She's
the
the actress,
chick, the bitch who got lost her
She's
memory?
the it girl. That's all that
she's
story
what-
is, you
yeah,
know.
she's what Naomi wants to be. So she's
Yeah.
creating this like version of what would be successful versus herself, who's a failure.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
Camilla Rhodes is like an idealized version of the Hollywood it girl, you know.
Yeah.
What a hoe.
okay, so then what the hell does that have to do with these anonymous people who will cut your money, take your life, take everything to make sure
No.
you hire
Those
the person
people-
they want?
Those are like Hollywood gangsters. That's what they're saying. That's like the business.
They're called
of it all.
Hollywood fixers.
Yeah, they're the ones that will lean on directors or studios
Ray
to get what they
Donovan.
want.
Don't you know Ray Donovan, bro?
Oh, yeah, bro.
No, but
Great show.
He'll get you. He'll get you.
Get you good, just like they should.
and the
Late
scars
Schneider.
remind me
Naomi
the
Watts'
past
husband.
is real. Okay, well that makes a little more sense because I was like Danny here. I was like at the end of it, I was like, what the fuck was his storyline for? Like I understood part of it at the end when like I understood the jealousy and what was going on between the director and her, Diane, and all that, but everything before that, I was not entirely sure what his role in all of it was and why. But that makes sense. It makes sense what you guys said, that it's just the thugs of Hollywood putting in who they want, and they have the
Mhm.
leverage to do it.
I
Yep.
think that David Lynch was in a similar situation with this type of thing, with like an it girl and other girls wanting a
Naomi
role.
Watts.
And I think that director is supposed to be a version of him, and because he looks similar to him in his younger years.
J.J. Abrams?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. He looks like J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, like he's
thick
got
ass glasses. Wait,
a
hold on,
similar
sorry.
hairstyle. He's got the glasses. He kind of looks like a younger David Lynch a little bit. So I think this movie is also probably some real life shit that he was dealing with, because he does that with his movies, and I'm sure that there are some things like that in there. And that's again, that's why I like him. I don't think you get that with a lot of directors, honestly, because again, they're always following kind of a focused story, and they want to hit all the points and make this big epic. Where David Lynch comes in and approaches things 100% differently. And I think both of the last two movies we talked about really represent his approach. You know, like I'm going to give you the ideas, but it's your job to kind of piece together what I'm talking about. And no, I'm not going to fucking give you yes or no's. I like that about him.
Fuck that.
That's like that. That's artist shit, you know, and most of the time it's kind of up its own ass. I think Tarantino has said that David Lynch is one of his most up his ass directors of all time. And maybe he is, but that doesn't mean his shit's bad. Sometimes you just got to know your shit doesn't stink and fucking dish it out anyway.
He's like, oh, you made a movie? Well, I made a movie.
I feel like both of those guys, you know,
are up their own
have
ass.
a bit of an ego at least. Well, one of them's dead,
Absolutely.
so you don't have shit.
One of them's dead, and the other one was so close to Weinstein that he had to have known, but he's lying. Just gonna put that out there, like you don't be that close to somebody and not know
knew.
what he's
Hey,
doing.
man, call him out when you see him.
He knew.
Fuck
He knew.
that.
Yeah, he fucking
On Joe
knew.
Rogan,
It's
he
part of the
claims he
chili
didn't
ring
know.
for sure.
And I know you guys don't like Joe Rogan, but he is one of the most watched podcasts in the world. One of them. And he did claim on there that he didn't know.
Mm-hmm. That's true. He did.
So, whether I know or not if he's telling the truth, I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, with how the way he talked about Weinstein being a hero to him and
Bill
being so close to him.
Claimed he didn't get his dick sucked in the Oval Office, and we know that was
one of the greatest on-screen lies in all of history.
Bro,
I did
he
not
was,
have
he was,
sexual
he was
relations
making her
with
a
that
toaster
woman.
strudel. It's fine.
Yeah, he was baking that cream up in-house, too.
Little do you know, toaster strudel was invented by Bill Clinton.
hell yeah.
All
right,
the
so
Clintons run that.
Is that your answer, Rex? Like you think Eraserhead was the best of these selections?
You know, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a huge fan of all these movies. I do like Eraserhead the most, but these movies were all okay. Like out of all these
Shocker.
directors, I think the best of them all was God, I'm fucking spacing his name now like an ass, but he's the guy who made Son of Sam.
You're talking about
Spike Lee.
Spike Lee, sorry.
Yeah.
Spike Lee. I really like Spike, those movies we watched. And that's not a knock on on Lynch here at all, but it's just as far as movies go, like Spike Lee's style outside of Inside Man, I really like his approach to the way he makes his movies. And David Lynch has his style, and I do like these kind of dreamscapey, like this whole idea that Mulholland Drive is a movie about you having those dreams before you die from your DMT and all that going off like that. That is really cool. But in terms of how the movie goes in dialogue, these movies weren't there for me.
Yeah. Again, I think the weakest area is the script.
But that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy these movies. Like they are a mind trip and they do get me thinking. So I do enjoy that. And Eraserhead, like I said, I don't care what it's about. Fucking movie is just sweet. The movie's
Just put it on mute and turn on some sweet music or something.
Yeah, like fuck, like that's a movie I'd put on like while I'm playing a fucking video game just to fucking trip out. Like either way, but again, I'm not knocking on David Lynch or saying I don't like these movies, but they just don't land as well as like with Spike Lee.
I get you. I know what you're saying.
But the
We
movies
all
were
got our
cool.
styles.
Yeah, the movies are cool. This movie is a trip, and I probably will watch this one again because now thinking of it from that perspective, because I didn't think at all from someone dying. Like it's just a different perspective I didn't see from it, but it's a trip, and I'll have to rewatch it again. But again, David Lynch so far has been just kind of okay.
All right.
bad.
Okay.
Would you say that it's all right?
I'd say
was
it's better
all right.
than all right. It's definitely better than all right because
That's your
these movies
catchphrase,
do
bro.
get me thinking. Yeah, but just
Yeah.
saying it's all right would be a disservice because these movies do make me think, and that
All
is
right.
something I really appreciate when something's
like
not
that.
always just fleshed out for you. Because
Hell
now
yeah.
that you guys said this shit, when I watch Mulholland Drive, I'm gonna have a different idea of what's going on. So that makes it interesting. But anyways, on to the next, which I didn't watch.
Hell yeah. What about you fellas? I mean, I have a question for Danny, but I want to wait till you guys talk about the ending part here. So,
my favorite. Say that question again.
Yeah, like your favorite of the bunch here.
I think, like I said, Blue Velvet, because I haven't seen Wild at Heart, but
Yeah, I gotta
I like
watch
the
that.
neo noir, style to it. The investigative approach, the dark, elements I really enjoy too. I think Isabella Rossellini is such a great actress, and she does such a great job of playing a tortured woman, like
Mhm.
that. Someone who has got a lot of I don't want to be like that, but like a lot of trauma, but she does. I mean, like, no, for real though, there's definitely a lot of trauma there, and I think she just fucking hits that role out of the park.
Trauma.
And then Laura Dern, ugly crying, is also fucking sweet as shit too. Is that when Isabella Rossellini shows up to Kyle MacLachlan's house naked and she's crying and all beat up and stuff, and then that's where Laura Dern finds out that they were sleeping together. Dude, the ugly cry that she puts on is epic.
Hell yeah.
There's a really good one in
He
Wild
kills
at
it.
Heart too. So
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Danny, so exclude. Okay, my question before you even tell me, but I'm right? Wild at Heart is definitely your favorite.
100%.
I called that shit.
Movie
No
sucks.
way.
Yeah.
There's no
I knew
doubt.
it.
No, the movie is fucking awesome, dude. It's great.
Okay, but so excluding that though, what would you say of those of the four we all watched? What do you say would
Probably
be the second best?
Blue Velvet as well. I really
Shocker.
wanted to like Lost Highway more, but I think I was just so confused. And again, I took these movies a little too literal. But
Hell yeah,
no,
So,
Blue
I
Velvet.
think that's awesome.
Blue Velvet was good because Dennis Hopper, dude, just unhinged like that. That's my kind of character, dude. Just someone just completely off the fucking rails.
Daddy wants to fuck. Yeah, hell yeah.
Danny,
Yeah.
forgive me if you did already answer this, but what did you think Lost Highway was about? Since you took it as a more literal take, what did you
I thought
take?
he was a schizo. I thought
Okay.
there was something wrong with his head. So when he was in jail, he was just envisioning a different life, and I didn't put two and two together. I don't know. It was fucking me up because I'm like, wait, who the hell's this guy? It just fucking pissed me off.
Okay.
And then his dad was Gary Busey. I'm like, okay, this is
Dude,
super
that tripped
distracting
me
now.
out so bad. As soon as I saw him,
dude.
I yelled out,
Yeah,
"I'm
but the kid-
Busey!"
Dude, that kid is also in Judge Dredd, and like I said, he is a puss.
Yeah, he wasn't a
so
great
schizo,
actor, that's for
okay.
sure.
Okay, so
But-
then,
yeah.
so with your literal taking of these movies, what did you think Mulholland Drive was about?
Well, I figured it was just about some struggling actress that had an in, and then she took advantage of it. And then this other girl was suffering from amnesia. She was involved with drugs or something. She had all that cash in her purse. And then all of a sudden they switch roles or whatever. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Yeah. I wasn't
Hell
ready for
yeah.
the switch. Mr.
Another
Lynch
what
likes
the
to
fuck
switch.
moment for Danny.
But you know what? You don't really experience that in Wild at Heart. Wild at Heart, to me, if I could compare it to another movie, I mean, Aaron, you said Bonnie and Clyde. I thought of Natural Born Killers, but not as much killing, obviously.
Yeah, that's the only reason I made the same comparison. Even in my letterbox, if you read it for Wild at Heart, I say Natural Born Killers too. But it's the lack of murder they're committing is the only difference, really.
Right.
Yeah.
You guys got to
And
remind me
the
about
lack
this
of having a
Letterboxd.
psychotic
Chased
mother
by
chasing you
murders.
down.
Letterbox, bro. Just every time you watch a movie, just log your thoughts
Dude,
real
I
quick. And that's
fucking
it.
forget.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
watching
see,
the
that's the
movie.
problem, bro.
I didn't show up to the pod yesterday because me and my girlfriend were on a fucking lynchathon. It was like I've had a
Jesus,
crazy
careful with that
week at
word.
work. I know. So I
Yeah.
apologize to everybody because Juneteenth just happened. But anyways, I've had a crazy week at work. A lot of crazy things have been happening. So I made yesterday the lynchathon. So we piled through that, and I fell asleep during Lost Highway.
Yeah,
Because that
that's why I
movie's
like
so
that we're going to be
confusing.
changing the format up here in the future a little bit because I do the same thing. I watch typically all 5 of the movies that we're going to cover on Sunday because I want them fresh in my mind for Monday. But
I don't generally do that, but because I try to get them done throughout, so I don't end up missing one.
So,
I
most
did
people
it
don't have the
yesterday.
weekends off.
Yeah, so yesterday I made a lynchathon, a David
yeah.
L-thon. if that's better.
Well, that's a good little segue into it. I was going to bring it up at the end here. We are going to change the format, which also means more content. Actually, we're going to be doing a lot more stuff. Not all four of us will always be
Butt
on,
stuff.
but sometimes
Chili ringers.
Sometimes it will be all four of us and things like that, but we are really going to focus on single individual movies going forward, and or if we do focus on a director for that month, we'll do something like one movie each week of them to celebrate them or something, instead of just cramming it all into one episode, which is really kind of exhausting us from talking about the full movies the way we should, because we feel like we're rushed and
Yeah, I got
like
10 minutes to talk about the titties we saw in Mulholland Drive.
Oh,
Let's bring it
dude.
back.
I think I can
wait.
take 10 minutes of room for that if you want to go ahead.
Do we have time?
I mean, you got to make 10 minutes for Patricia Paquette if you're going to do it for Mulholland Drive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, you're about to get some Dern missiles in Wild Heart.
Wild
Let me tell you
Heart.
what's up, man.
Oh, no way. You see the
You
Derns?
son of a bitch.
You see the Derns?
Oh, you see the Derns.
I
Yeah,
was
you see the
hoping to
Derns.
see him in Blue
Dude.
Velvet, but it didn't land.
Her and Nick Cage are banging half the goddamn movie, dude. It's awesome.
Mhm.
Cage is in this?
Awesome. Dude,
He's the best part
cocaine-fueled
about the
Nick
movie.
Cage.
He really is.
Yeah.
Him,
Yeah.
I'm
Willem Dafoe is
disgusted that
fucking
this is the
creepy as
one
fuck.
movie that's not on
Yeah,
streaming.
you couldn't even rent it on Amazon
Yeah,
Prime. It was
it's
ridiculous.
Amazon.
Funny, I found it on the internet, boys.
That's why I texted you yesterday. You should come over and watch, or for today, you should come over and watch it tomorrow. We'll get
can't.
it. You son of a bitch.
I told you I've been having a crazy week, and now I'm in Tahoe for the next 2 weeks for 4th of July. So, and those are going to be
You
long shifts.
bastard.
So,
Well.
my apologies. But I
All
do
right,
want
well,
to see
it is what
it,
it
so we can make a time on the weekend that I can watch it. Because
Yeah,
I
then
know
we'll
that
do-
Nick Cage is in it, and we
Okay,
get to see some.
So you're not going to be here for next week's episode.
I'll let you know as soon as I know.
Well, no,
Wow.
if you're going on vacation, just
No,
go
no,
on
not
vacation.
vacation.
You know?
No, not vacation. I'm going to
He's
work
got
up.
work
in-
up there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. So, and it's just for the holiday for 4th, and I don't know if you know about Tahoe, but the 4th, the 2 weeks to 4th is crazy.
Well, let us know sooner rather than later, because the movies we were going to watch for next week, I really want you to watch. So if you can't be here, I'll pivot and we'll change it up.
I will let you know as soon as I know, because I thought I worked today, and I went to work, and they told
Okay.
me I shouldn't be at work today.
Well, if all things go according to plan, we're going to be watching the Dollars trilogy by Sergio Leone for a few dollars, fistful of dollars for a few dollars more, and the
And
good, bad, and the ugly. Yeah.
Yeah,
If you want
okay,
to do
I've
extra
seen all
credit,
these.
he also did Once Upon a Time in the West, which is a banger. But
My grandpa
that's
loved
right.
Westerns. I've seen all these.
Oh, sick. There you
But
go.
I will rewatch them again because I haven't seen them in about 15 years. But no, I literally have seen all these. I know this trilogy because
All right.
my grandpa loved all
Oh,
these.
cool. So you have some nostalgia and some affinity for him,
A
too.
little bit. Yeah, for sure.
Or
But
you
no,
fucking
I'll let
flat
you
out hate
know.
him.
No, not at all. Westerns are I like Italian westerns, the spaghetti ones too. He watched those. But anyways,
That's
yeah,
what
I'll
these
let
are.
you know as soon as I know. But I'm
All right.
stoked for the new format.
All right. Well, I'm not as excited because you've already seen them. I thought you might not have seen them before, but we'll still save them for when you're here.
I'll try to make it. But yeah, these westerns
yeah.
I've seen. These are the very few. Probably this and 10 others are the few westerns I've seen.
All right.
Yeehaw.
Well,
Danny,
next
you-
week might be a surprise then.
Yes,
What's
it'll
that?
be all right.
Danny?
Well, if when we find out
Oh.
from him, I'll let you guys know. I'll pick something real quick.
Word. Danny, also here, I'm just going to shout you out on the podcast. I hear you're really enjoying this new Anthony Green re-release of Avalon. And
Oh yeah, man! I
Wait,
didn't even
wait.
realize
So
that
long,
he put it
Avalon,
out.
baby.
Hold up.
Yeah.
What
Yeah, it's-
re-release?
Here, I'll
It's
put
a-
it in the
yeah,
Discord
he-
for
Put it
you.
in the
Rex.
chord for me.
It's almost better than the original one, to be honest with you, and that's a bold statement.
So it's just a remaster
because that's like
of the
one of my-
songs?
He re-recorded it. He made them
reimagines
with pop
them.
rock songs. Yeah.
Yeah, they're fucking great. It's very, very good.
So
Yes.
that said, let's go ahead and do an episode on that album. We did a King Gizzard album yesterday. Let's do that if you're down sometime this week.
I did
Oh
listen
yeah,
to King
because
Gizzard.
this album, I don't know if you've noticed, I've listened to it quite a bit. He's changed a lot of the lyrics due to his wife leaving him and stuff
Thank
like
you.
that, and it's kind of sad, honestly. If you listen to some of these lyrics, he's like kind of like begging her back and stuff. But we'll talk about it when we talk about the album, because yeah, it's
Jesus.
No
it's
way,
just-
man. I mean, Anthony
it's just
Green's
a
a top tier lyricist.
and like I said, I mean, I'm such a big fan of Circus Survive, and so when he did his solo stuff, this first album when it came out, I was like, oh man, I got to get this, and I
So
listened
good.
to the hell out of it. I loved it so much. So hearing a new like imagining of like all the songs, like not all of them are super different, but like they're different enough to where like there's horns in the background in some of them, and some of them have a little bit more catchier hoppy beat and stuff. So it's awesome. It's a good listen.
Cool. We'll get that slated. We'll talk about it.
Dude, this is
We're
crazy.
gonna start pumping out that content because we're gonna be focusing more on YouTube too. Brandon and I, you and I talked about it. Rex and I, you and I have been talking about doing that. So it's time to pull the trigger on that and get it going.
Get those
just
dank
show up.
edits.
YouTube, pull it up. I type in the
Yeah.
YOU and some porn will pop up. Oh, sorry.
Wow.
Sorry, guys.
But yeah, so and then Rex, you mentioned you want to do the action figure reviews and stuff, and we'll start jumping in and tearing into that, and we won't drag our feet on it. We'll get it going. So probably 4 or 5 episodes a week going forward. Some of them will just be me by myself, but that's all right. Tune in, listen in,
Cute.
do what you got to do. Hell yeah.
Is that Krillin? I'm just kidding.
Fucking CM
Who's
Punk.
that wrestler?
It's CM Punk, man.
Very blurry.
Blurry M Punk.
This fucking Brotherhood is
Bro, that's
so
kinda
crazy
sick.
detailed. I can't.
It's a good
even-
one.
It's a hella good one out of nowhere.
Hell yeah.
the
Usually I
way.
keep all my figures, if I do get a figure, in the box. But the box for him
Pussy.
broke, so I took him out of it. And then the white shirt that he was wearing got dirty, so I threw that away. So
Wow. Really know how to
Hell
take
yeah.
care of your stuff, don't you?
that's why I keep them in the box.
Apparently you
Hell
don't.
Shut the fuck up, dude.
All right. This has been David Lynch. This is Beyond the Credit.
Wait.
Boards.
Hold on. Let's
We're
back
not
this
David
up.
Lynch.
First,
No,
I
we're not.
want to ask a couple questions.
That's my little catchphrase, bitch. I do that at the end of every episode.
I know, but
This
I
has
want
been-
You say that
Back it
you're
up
David
because-
Lynch?
There's
No, I say this has been because that's what we talked about every time.
Look, ladies,
Literally
I got
every
some
time.
questions about this guy. We got off track. First off,
All right,
I just
all
want
right,
to know
all right.
where does this guy land in your favorite directors? Like, I know this is a big
Oh.
name guy,
Oh boy. Oh boy.
but where does he land for you guys?
For me, I'm sure you already know. You guys all already know. He's actually pretty high up there for me. He's probably top 5. I don't know where he'd be, but he's top 5 for me.
Maybe
Yeah.
top 25.
Yeah, I don't know. He might break the top 25, maybe, but I'd have to think about it. And then if I do think about it, that might mean he doesn't make it.
Okay, so
But I do want to
then-
watch the rest of his stuff. I mean, especially after watching Wild at Heart, I'm like, dude, what's going to top that? Like, I
Okay,
fucking
so-
enjoyed that movie so much.
Nothing.
So,
Yeah.
Danny, you
Yeah.
haven't
You
seen
thought.
many of his movies, Danny?
Pretty
He
much
doesn't
none of
have
them.
that many movies. We just watched half of them. He only has 10
Oh,
movies.
okay. See, I've
And I
seen
had
a
never
lot
watched
more.
any of these, so
Yeah.
Okay.
The movies I left off the list, Elephant Man is a great film. I do recommend you watching that, but it's more of a straightforward, like historical docudrama kind of deal. It's good and it has some Lynch isms in it, but it's a real straightforward kind of film, even though it is about a weird topic.
I'm not a monster.
Dune is obviously based on Dune, the novels, and I think he deserves, a round of applause for what he accomplished with what he had, but I don't feel it's very good, so I didn't choose that either.
I was
Um,
actually shocked to not see that on here.
I'm not a fan of it. It's one of my least favorite movies. I didn't choose Inland Empire, which was his last movie.
3-hour movie or whatever.
It's just not very good. If you like Laura Dern, you might enjoy it a little bit, but it's really full of mind fuck. I mean, if Lost Highway and Mulholland Drive got you, Inland Empire going to take you over the
So wait,
top.
I
you've
almost
seen that
sure
one,
is.
Danny?
No, I almost wanted to watch that one if I wasn't going to be able to watch Wild at Heart as like extra credit.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then I skipped Fire Walk with Me because Fire Walk with Me is a prequel to the Twin Peaks TV show, which I would love us to cover sometime, but it's quite the commitment, so I did skip Fire Walk with Me as well. It would be kind of cool to watch out of context and just hear all the what the fucks, but yeah, it's a prequel movie, so it wasn't really one I needed to add. So that's his whole filmography right there. And then the last one is the Disney film. You heard me correctly, a David Lynch Disney movie called The Straight Story. And that is his most normal film. That 100% is just a normal ass movie. It's called The Straight Story for that reason.
Well, that's crazy, and it's a Disney
Yeah.
film. Color me shocked.
Yeah, it's on Disney Plus. So if you want to check it out, I mean, it's a really good film. It really is. It's just nothing like any of this shit.
What's it about?
Nothing. It's
Yeah.
about a guy who he wants to drive, or he's going to visit his brother who's dying, and he drives there on a tractor. It's all he's got. He's a real honorable, comfortable guy.
I know about this story. It happened in the early 90s. This old guy was told he couldn't drive, so he drove a tractor for 17 days to see his dying brother. Or something
exactly.
Like that.
It's based on a true story. It's really good.
I'm actually
the
main
character is great. Yeah, I really recommend it. I didn't choose it because I wanted you to get the full Lynch fuckery, and that wouldn't have done it. So that's what it is.
Got Lynch fuckeried.
That's right.
Don't call the Lynch mob.
All right.
Or a Lynchathon.
But yeah. So now that is the end of the episode. R.I.P. David Lynch. This is your boy Practical.
He misses Rex. You. This is DB.
This is Rex.
And this has been Brandon.
Hell yeah, I like that little motion, dude.
Oh yeah.
Get you an action figure.
That?
I'm gonna make him an action figure, bro. We'll review him.
I was just playing with my
action
figure.
Does he has a cut for tin change and stuff?
Hell yeah. Any guy, we'll catch you next week, you guys.
I'll fucking kill you, Danny.
Fucking murder.